Hey, this is Nick from Remedy667.com, the best place on the internet for horror theme fonts and typefaces. And today is Horror Font Friday, which means we're going to be watching Spider Baby. And making some lettering. So, this piece of lettering right here, Turntables, Tremors, Total Terror, I have no idea where this is from. This was from a Reddit post on, let me see if I can find it. I'll put the link in the comments, but this is from a Reddit post where somebody said, you know, what is this retro horror font? And they identified this font thread, and the reply was, this has to be hand done. Not a single one of those 6 R's are the same. Totally. So this happens a lot in this thread where somebody will post a piece of lettering and then it'll get a comment like, oh, that's not a font. So one thing that I used to do is I would go in and find these threads where somebody was like, oh, that's not a font, you know, you can't do that. And I kind of look at the mechanics of it and try and figure out if it could be a font. Probably not going to make all 6 R's with this one, though you probably could say like, oh, well, if you make a RNT, that's a ligature, an RS ligature, an RE. Yes, we could achieve that with that. Same with the T's. But I think we're just going to do kind of an inspired by, and then we'll go ahead and post it on the site. Yeah. This is fun. I don't know. I'm going to shut up and start getting to work before we all turn into pumpkins. Let's see. We use that image trace. I was going to show some of what I kind of do in Photoshop before I get to this point, but the audio wasn't working. The video came out all screwed up. And before you knew it, I was like pretty much done. And that was the end of the story. This is ligatures all day. So much fun. I think I like that R. I'm not going to think of anything like a ligature. I'm just going to pull stuff in. I feel like if I go down that rabbit hole, then I will be doomed. Ooh, I like that L better than this short one, but that's like a good end of word L. I've tried coding for that before. I didn't really find a program that kind of worked with it. I don't know if anybody's had different experiences. Write about it in the comments. Did you see that magic there? That was another font I was working on earlier. You hear the voice of the great Lon Chaney Jr. Elizabeth. He was the Wolf Man, which I'm sure you all know. All right, so I'm going to get these all sized up. This is not going to be a 1-to-1. But how long ago was this Reddit post made? I'd say maybe I'll send it to the person. I don't know if you can do that on Reddit. That would probably freak me out if somebody did that to me. This is 7 months old, this post. So we'll post a link to the font after we get it cleaned up here. And look, we're taking a lot of liberties. We're already starting to mess with the twist of letters. It's a nice rainy evening here in Maine. Gonna bring this over here. Indulge myself in the sea. Cut that there. This is just trimming. It's kind of like collage in a way. I know I often will talk about it like doing pottery or something, you know, but today it feels more like collage. This is going to be really fun. I'm just going to keep babbling. I'm not even going to talk about what I'm doing or how my day is or how my week went. Just Bob Ross vibes over here. For those interested in how the sausage is made, it's Thursday, May 14th right now, so we are working on this font. I'm not really sure what it's going to be called yet. And I won't know by the time I finish this video either. But it should be out today as you watch this, but in real time that I'm in, 1 week from tomorrow, we'll have it up on the website. So I think I had another O I can use for my Q. Oh, and for my R. Look at that. How many times do I have to tell you, just because something isn't good doesn't mean it's bad? It must be something very bad. Nothing is very bad. He's going to come here and bring other people. This feels a little flat on the right side here, so I think what I want to do is bring this in a little bit and do the same up here. We're gonna make some P from this R here. And we're gonna bring it down a little bit just to fill up some of that negative space near the bottom. I think I cut it a little too close on the inside here. And lean back just a tiny bit. That Q seems a little, you know what? I'll bet just one click in like that. That helped. That helped that a little bit feel less flat. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we were already there. Like I said, we're babbling today. Alright, so this, I don't want it to go in as thin as it does as immediately. I want it to stay out a little bit. Tilt that L till it kills, till it heals. I'm gonna get a K going. I don't know. My phone's being weird. It feels like I haven't done one of these in a long time. It's been I was in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and I had to. Normally, I'll record these on Friday, 1 week before I release them. But because we were gone for the weekend, we were leaving Thursday, I had to do it on Wednesday. So last week I had to do it on Wednesday. This week I'm doing it on Tuesday, Thursday. Yes, today's Thursday. So it's been a week and a day, you know. Normally it's only a week. Feels pretty wild. All right. I don't think I want to make... I didn't want to make my G from the same C because I think that this shape is a little too noticeable. So we're just going to change it up a little bit. We are going to shrink that down. And we're going to cut it right there. And this needs to get way thinner. So that looks okay, sort of. We're going to cut it a little thin. And we're actually going to go a little higher because it feels kind of tilted in a little too much for me. Smooth that out, and then this just feels too flat, so we're gonna angle it toward, and then there. It's a nice G. All right, let's make an H. I think I want to use this E and this L with this T. I keep kind of slimming. So I'm taking a lot of liberties with this lettering here. That feels natural to me. This side feels a little thick. That's a little better. Let's go ahead and smooth your corners just to make it, even though we're making it from components, it doesn't have to look like it 100%, because it always kind of will. This is going to be my eye. And we're going to use the same top of the L. Group that. And we're going to get a J in here pretty quick because we have an L, a U. Oh. feels too thick. And let's smooth that a little bit, just to give it a little bit of differentiation. Just to mix it up a little bit from the U. And we'll even pull it down. Observing the rules of the rounded characters optically overextending the baseline. I'm going to take this E and this O and make a D just to get that over with, because, ugh, am I right? No, because the D is the only gap happening here between the C and the E, and it's too simple. So why am I not just getting it over with, you know? Group. All right, let me pause this and check my messages real quick. If I can find where I had the video, and we'll see where we're at for time. All right, we're at 16, almost 17 minutes, we'll say. Doing pretty good. Can I get this in before the 20-minute mark? I don't know. I don't care. I probably could. I don't know that it's that important today. I feel kind of like I just want to relax with it, especially because so earlier today on my lunch break, and I think I've probably already mentioned this multiple times, but I did some work on no, this actually has to tilt the other way and then rotate. Sorry, but I've already drawn a lot of an alphabet earlier, which was pretty wild because today was pretty busy as far as a day goes anyway. So I think I said earlier, I'm just going to keep repeating myself today apparently. We're watching Spider Baby. I got my copy of the new Phantom LP in the mail yesterday. So Spider Baby was in my mind. We are pretty excited to go and see him live in a couple of months at the VFW Hall. Oh, I'm not sure how this K is going to work. If it's got to overextend and under, I'm going to come back to it. I'm all at the weird V characters anyway, so you know what I'm talking about. Triangles. V, X, Y, Z at the end of the alphabet. They're all different shapes, essentially, than everything earlier on in the alphabet. So they're kind of a different animal to draw. I think if I were to think of a perfect word to make a font from, it would be nice if it had like a Y in it or an X. But I say that, but at the same time, I'm constantly making fonts from the word Frankenstein. It just has, but it has a K, so. That makes sense if you know, you know. Make a X out of a K. I always get these muffin tops, for lack of a better word, on my Ys, because the way I build them sometimes, but I feel like bringing it in there is really going to do me some good. I should not have done that just then because I have an idea. Just thicken that up a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and smush it all into one shape. And the reasoning for this is to just make it easier for creating these variations. Pull it down a tiny bit. I wish I would have made the X height a little higher. But that's what happens when you work destructively. I'm going to make a classic W with an N and a V. And I'm actually going to bring this V way in and shrink this W quite a bit.
My dear, there's no doubt in my mind that we have here an absolutely clear-cut prima facie open and shut case.
Great. Now all I want to know is what you're working on in September.
Well, that's a little difficult to tell at this juncture. Perhaps with an honest...
That is a wonderful. That looks pretty good. This side feels like it could come up a little bit. And maybe even rotate in a little bit. Just a hair. It's like a little too wide, right? You seeing that? Comparatively. That, I think, works. I want to... Does anybody know where the smoothing tool is? I think I want to smooth. Whoa, I don't. I don't want to smooth. I thought I wanted to smooth this out a little bit. It feels a little too roughed. But not with the smooth tool. That did us no good. I'm going to duplicate this N again. Go ahead and pause. I thought I could have made it there by 20 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I hope you enjoy it. You know, we're very fortunate to have pink fur. You see, we're vegetarian. Vegetarian?
It's there. We don't eat this.
One thing that was kind of interesting that actually made that, I'm usually really bad at going angled with the mouse. But one thing that really lends itself to this font is like the angle kind of loses itself near the end and comes in kind of heavy. Like if you look at like the P, this N, the N, like everything's got kind of an angle.
I'm afraid
Group that. All right, so this is our horror font for Friday at 25 minutes. Everything is looking pretty good. The K still feels a little weird, but I think all it really needs to probably do is dip down a little bit. And this one needs to rotate in a little bit. And I think that's really all it needs to do. That feels much better already. All right. X, Y, Z. That's a wrap. Join us next week. All right. From here, we're going to the numbers. All right. So to start with the numbers, we are going to KABC right here. And go ahead and put that right on the baseline. We have saved this as DS Turntable. Ooh, Return of the Fly. That's a good one. Go ahead and set it right on the baseline. And size it up. And let's take a look at where we're at. This is going to be 362.4, maybe? .45? 0.5? And the crowd goes wild. That seems really close. Oh. 5.8. My vision gets too blurry. That's darn close. All right, so we're gonna duplicate that character. I'm going to jump into my organized chaos document and grab my numbers recipe right there, and we're going to outline and ungroup that. That already feels like a 0. It's already like nice and thinned out, but we're going to pull that a little bit, and I think I'm going to rotate it just to give it a little bit of variation. And change those out. Sorry, I thought my phone lit up. It's been doing this thing lately where it doesn't make an audible sound. It just lights up, which is really good when somebody's trying to call you and you just ignore it. Not purposely, you know, but that is how it appears. We are going to group that one. Also going to slim down that side. We're going to reflect that. I wish there was a shortcut, a keyboard shortcut to reflect, because that is something that I feel like I do quite a bit. That won't need it, that won't need it, this will need it. I often need to reflect in Photoshop, and I feel like I just can't do it at the speed I would like to. group that. We are going to bring this 8 in.
This is the phoniest setup I've ever seen.
There is something terribly wrong here, and I intend to find out exactly what.
This 8 is just not going to feel right. I think it might have worked a little better. Here goes the clodhopper on the 7. It might have worked a little better if I would have stacked 2 zeros, which is, I guess, another way you could make an 8. But we didn't do it like that. But I think I will for this. I feel like that style of 8 will work better here. So let's go ahead and delete that. Group, and we will mess with that angles a little bit. And we are also going to smooth some of that out and unsmooth some of it, just to give it a little bit of variation. And a lot of the variation will actually come in later too when we add the other font sets, and those actually will get done on the iPad. Just drawing the letters. The first set I make from components, so a lot of this is about not necessarily what you're seeing, which is, you know, me drawing an alphabet, but me going in with Procreate after and trying to kind of emulate this composite typeface with a Procreate brush, which is a whole nother mess of things that can happen. Oh, yeah. Oh, nice. Should we push this end in? Or pull the other end out? Or push that end in and then pull both of them out? I don't know why I started at the 9. That 3 looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. Look at that, cut him before we even started to build it. Group. And that is gonna go over just a little bit. I like that 2 being really thin like that. It feels natural, especially with the one that's so large. I think I want to make the 4 a little thinner. all of it at once, and then I'm going to cut that and move it in a little bit. So that's made the sides a little bit thinner, and then our little bit of negative space in the middle even more. And speaking of negative space, we're going to go down just a tiny bit and join the shape. Cut. We're definitely turning into a pumpkin today. I'm not even going to look at the clock. We're probably like 30 minutes into this already. Oh my god, I looked at the clock. More than 30. Alright, from here it gets a little quicker, I feel like. It doesn't really seem like it, but whenever I go back and watch these videos, it seems like, holy crap, I'm just flying through this, you know? So... there's that. I'm actually going to make these a little more squared off right now. I usually end up doing it anyway. With some fonts I've made in the past, like Demon Glow, they're very wild. And speaking of Demon Glow, I would actually have to go and look at that font and see kind of, well, what exactly did I do to make the math. Did I even make math characters in that, you know? Because that is a wild font. Like Gore Girl. I was in... So when I made the font Gore Girl, I was doing jury duty. Which, if you've never done jury duty, it's pretty interesting. But you get to meet all sorts of jurors. And I was telling him that I like designed fonts. One of the guys, and he was like, "Oh, that's super interesting. What do they what kind of fonts do you design?" Like for, you know, operating systems, or like, have I ever seen any of your work? And I'm like, I don't know, probably not, but you know, it's around sometimes in some places. But I showed him Gore Girl because that was what I was working on, and he was just like, oh my god, this is so incredible. Which is usually not the response that I expect to get from most people when I explain kind of what I do. But you'd be surprised. I have a lot of people that are like, I don't even watch horror movies, like, but that sounds so cool. Like, it's just such a cool niche. And I'm not even the only person who does it. I'm not even the best person who does it, even though I say I am. I'm like Stewart from SNL, saying that I'm the best. I think that is the size of the circle that I want on the @ symbol. But I want it a little thinner for my copyright. Let's get that out of the way. How do you feel about copyright symbols that look like the font that they're in? I feel like whenever you see a copyright symbol with most fonts, assuming that they were probably disc fonts from the 90s, But the copyright symbol is almost always in like Helvetica or Times New Roman. You know, it's that and like the trademark. Like those characters are always not matching whatever the font is. What did I do that for? Not matching whatever font that they're with. And it always kind of drove me a little nuts. Not like, you know, some maniacal idiot or somebody who's angry about it or anything, but just like, why? You were drawing an R. Just put a damn circle around it. Make it part of the circle. Did that still group? There we go. Much better. You know, I think I put a circle P, which stands for published, I believe. I think I did one of those characters in the Alkaline Trio font because it made sense. Because published gets used a lot in music. And because it was a band, I was like, you know, I'm going to do that. Which if you've never listened to Alkaline Trio, maybe you should. They're fun. I made that font with Derek, who is really a cool person. It was a very interesting experience because he had reached out to me as a fan of Remedy 667, and when he was explaining who he was, I was like, oh my God. Because I was a huge fan of his. Because I grew up in that area and listened to bands like the Suicide Machines and Geiga. And he was in some other hardcore band I can't remember the name of right now. But yeah, I grew up in that area, and it was like, wow. Young me is so jealous. Even right now, me is a little jealous. I haven't talked to him in a while. I think, I don't know. I always think I offend people. I think I offended him. And that may not be true, but it's just what I've convinced myself in my mind why I haven't talked to him in a while. It's also because I'm terrible at any social anything. So if you're watching this and I haven't talked to you in a while, it's probably because I don't realize, I don't know. Because I can't, like, I don't know. Because I'm just terrible at social cues. I also work a full-time job and do freelance design, and then for some reason started designing a font every week. But I really enjoy designing fonts every week. My phone is on the case and I'm not. See? It's exactly what I was saying. Oh, this is my favorite part. I almost didn't even realize it. I've been partially in my head thinking, trying to resolve this website problem at work. And I'm just kind of throwing it around in my head. Like, it was something I've obviously been working on for a while, but kind of made some breakthroughs with earlier today, and then got really close to understanding a part of it right before I had to punch out. It's a good thing it's not Friday, right? Actually Friday. And I have one more day before I have the weekend off, and then I come back on Monday like I don't remember what I was doing. I've been at estate sales all weekend and working on type. But I keep thinking about it and kind of why it's doing what it's doing and how I can explain it to the developers to get them to make it not do what it's doing, or do it in the way that is expected. What? We're going to do that at a 15. And smooth. We're just going to cut that right down the middle and move it over on itself and tie it together, bring it down a little bit, just there. I've been making these too tall. And Glyphs doesn't like me when I do that. You're not going to like me when I make my bar too tall, when I set the bar too high. Maybe that's where that term comes from. Let's delete those. We're going to need an equal sign, probably a few of them actually. But the first one's going to go on the bar. I like to sit it right on the line. It's actually nicer to just grab that bar or that equal sign from over there than to type the equal sign, because to make my number sign, I'm doing this a little different. I'm bringing things in just to make them a little smaller. I should not have done that with my actual equal sign. But you know what I can do? I'm just going to actually.
Hey, are you really a wolf fan? A wolf fan?
Copy, just delete. I make that mistake a lot, in case you couldn't tell.
No vacancy again. That's the last one, Ann. There was another town for 50 miles.
See, I guess we shouldn't have spent all that time at the village inn.
I didn't realize how late it was getting. You lose count, they keep taking away the glasses. Who was that?
I know, but I remember exactly how many.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm not as chatty today. I feel like I'm normally talking a lot. Probably not, but group. Like I said, I just thinking about work. So this we're going to duplicate a couple times. The first one, we are going to shrink. And I try to shrink it so it's like around the same width as those are in height. It's never the same. It's never even actually close. I don't even think it's an optical trick that I'm doing because it's a little thinner. The vertical bar, for lack of a better word. But, you know. So this one, I'm going to thin this up quite a bit because this is going to end up being my fraction.
Spiders aren't supposed to eat other spiders. Cow spiders do.
That's pretty good. Group that. Oh, just a little smaller right there. Perfect.
Doesn't sound like Bruno. Oh no, it's Uncle Peter and that pretty lady that's coming back.
And
You mustn't hurt anyone else.
let's make that a little wider.
He will not. Anyway, I like Uncle Peter. He's not like that bad man. All the same, they'll tell on us. Would they? Would they tell? Of course they'll tell.
What are we at now? Punctuation. Punctuation, what's your station? We're usually way further than this, but that's okay. We knew it was going to be a pumpkin day. And the rain is very nice. And we're planning dinner. I got an email from somebody. So I want that to come out a little bit. These, not so much. I like having a nice square period sometimes.
Hey, this is if Miss Morris and I are gonna have to spend the night here after all. No room at the inn, as they say.
Good evening, Uncle Peter.
And that'll be my comma apostrophe. I don't know why I duplicated those. I thought I was going to ruin a bunch, apparently. I'm going to keep the period the same. It's going to be the same all the way around. All the punctuation is going to be the same all the way around. Sometimes I'll go in and clean it out. Actually, usually I'll go in and kind of change it up a little bit, but no. Not today.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm sure whether, but most of them do.
You really think so?
Listen, Emily is very easy to get along with. She's asleep.
That's going to be a little bit higher.
And we'll have dance. It's really very nice.
There you go. See?
Reflect the S.
Good night.
And I'm actually going to bring that up a little bit and this one down a little bit. Just so they'll kind of have the same vibe, for lack of a better word, the same prominence as the exclamation point by adding that bit of height. Group. Uh-oh. You know, it's fun when Illustrator starts to hide the color from you. So this one, I am going to change. All I'm going to do is on the middle one here, I'm going to bring it in a tiny bit. just for some variation. Very subtle. I want this to feel kind of like a component. I want this to feel a little more like a font since it's coming from such an obvious non-font. If that makes sense. It just... We cross an hour yet? The $, this is another one to borrow instead of taking from, because then you don't have to cut the center apart. It's one thing, as much as I talk about working destructively, working non-destructively is also probably the preferred method. Part of why I got more destructive with especially type design is the way I implemented font self into my process, because instead I used to go and drag characters back and forth, you know, and that's so time consuming and so so time consuming and so confusing, and just it didn't really, it was, at the time it was incredible, you know. I was like, oh my god, I've discovered this way. I was working on like 20 or 30 fonts at a time in one file, you know, like so much has changed. Like, right? But anyway, but doing it this way, it's actually a lot quicker. And I also feel like the whole, what do they say? Like, you get addicted to like the reward or whatever, because the internet, I don't know what I'm saying. The payoff is faster. Actually, let me pause that. I'm gonna, finishing a font in a couple hours is a lot more rewarding than working super intensely on like 20 or 30 fonts at once to finish them all at once in a week or a week and a half or however long it takes. But you get so tired of it halfway through, and then by the time you finish it and you finish like 20 fonts, you just have like that many all at once. It's just like, why? What am I going to do with these? It's less special, you know? This is way more fun. All right, I've imported those little bits. Look at that. We're like a minute away from an hour. We're almost to smalls and diacritics. I think we're going to have this done by an hour and 20 minutes. So if you need to leave, you could have done it whenever. This is not a live video. You can always come back and finish it later. It's entirely up to you. I just like trying to get this wrapped up in an hour. That is a me thing. At the same time, it's kind of nice to not finish before the movie also. But if this movie finishes before we're done, I'm going to cry. I wish I could remember the name of the other band that Derek Grant was in. It's like Thoughts of Einsko, maybe? I feel like I was in a band that played a show with them at some point. I don't know if he was in it at the time. Would have been at like the Mosquito Club or Pharaoh's Golden Cup. And I don't even know if I'm saying the name of that band correctly. Thoughts of Ionesco? Did I put all that on the guide layer? Jesus. Do I do this every week? Cut that. I want this to be on this layer. My new bit here is going to go on this layer. Group. D. Yeah, like them with like Fudge Gun was another really good band from back then. Derek wasn't in Fudge Gun, but and that was an all-girl band. I want to say the singer's name was Marty. I don't remember if that's correct or not. But I heard that the drummer, who was a really amazing drummer, I heard that she's like either an announcer or like a news person for like WWE or one of the wrestling. This was years ago. This was like, and some sports channel. I remember because I don't remember if I had looked it up because I'd been listening to Fudge Gun at the time, or if I'd been listening to Adventures in Design with Mark Brickey, who is also from another band from that time, which he never wants to mention. I don't know. I'm not sure why. But that was the Enkindles. I have a couple of their CDs. They were kind of more of a, I don't know. I don't remember. I think I saw them like once, maybe at the Shelter. Or not the Shelter, like St. Andrews. And this is dumb. Like in my mind, I'm like, none of this makes sense. You know how you get older or whatever, and you build some weird reality? If you don't know about that, then don't get old. Your brain plays all the tricks on you. But I feel like it was like Suburban Delinquents and like the Enkindles and like Telegraph or something like that. I don't know. I miss those days.
My own rank in the family, being rather distant, we never suffered from the curse.
All right, where are we at? Because this movie looks like it's getting close to the end. We got to make smalls and we got to make Diacritics. So I'm going to go ahead and print everything that I need to do all of that. And we're just going to outline and ungroup it. And we're going to pull this ASCII tilde over because that's the missing link. A, group the TM, rotate the V. Spider Baby just ended with the spider in her sights. All right, well, they're going to roll credits. You'll probably see some fun-looking letters on the side. I believe the typeface of Spider Baby, and I'm not going to do this every time, but I believe it is Adlib is the name of it. I was joking with my wife last time we were at the Museum of Print down in Somerville, Massachusetts. We went to the Museum of Printing, and I'd purchased a bunch of specimen books. And I was telling her, I was like, you know, it's super amazing. When you think of like your mind, you have all these associations, you know, with different typefaces. And I was like, I totally associate this typeface with the 90s. I don't know if it was on like mid-late 90s, you know. I don't know if it was on like the credits for a TV show. I'm sure it was, but I don't know what, you know, or if it was on like the Real Big Fish CD or so, you know, like I don't know where I had that association from, but in my mind I see that font and I'm like 90s. But it's actually, you know, you find a type specimen book from the 60s and there it is. Mid-century as ever. All those 90s fonts that we like to believe are whatever they were once they got digitized, you know, when that became the new medium. And that's kind of how they live. And I feel like that's kind of what we're doing now, you know. I'm going through, I'm doing all these 70s influence fonts, and somebody might look at this and be like, what? Well, not this, obviously, because it's, I don't even know what it's from. But, you know, I'll do a font from like, let's say Daughters of Dracula, you know, Dracula's Daughter. Somebody might look at that and be like, oh man, the font from Dracula's Daughter title is this. And it's like, it's not, though, because it wasn't a font. Which is what brings us here in the whole... like, but that's, you know, like, I didn't design the font for Dracula's Daughter. I wasn't even alive when that movie came out. You know? I'm just... making, like, paying homage to a lot of these and having fun, because if you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. I got 2 more diacritics to draw, and then I will check that message, both of those messages, unless that was my 2-minute warning, because I'm already taking too long. I'm going to rotate this. Oh, in and up. Boom, there you have it. Sorry that took so long today. Oh my God, 1 hour and 9 minutes. That's actually like 11 minutes shorter than I thought it was going to take. So... let's take a look. We started with Turntables, Tremors, Total Terror. And we got our full, complete character set. That will cover your monotype minimum, as I call it, to get your typeface in the door there. Please make contextual alternates with your display typefaces. I can't say anything more. That always drove me crazy. It still drives me crazy when I design. But that's what we're doing here. All right. Hey, oh my God. 1 hour and 10 minutes. 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1. Next week.